Hello, and welcome to AWS Tech Tales. I'm your host, Matt Burke.
I'm your co-host for today, Brooke Gary.
Hey, everyone. So, this is the show where we talk about real life customer issues, what you can do to solve them. And today we're picking back up a topic we started last week, but you don't have to know anything about it to tune in and have fun and help us troubleshoot in the chat. Brooke, what are we talking about today?
So this is the sequel. Last week we had some fun troubleshooting some relatively common CloudFormation errors, stack errors, taking a look in the console, seeing how to troubleshoot. It was a fun week. We definitely got a lot of help from the chat, so may need some more help again today.
So if you want to take a look at that episode, we can put it in the chat. But we have a community page that um, shows all of our most recent episodes. We have show notes for each of them. And the one for last week has thankfully been already updated. So I will put this in the chat for folks to check it out. And you can see our recording. You can see the link to the workshop that we're slowly working through. But yeah, let us know. Say hi in the chat. Let us know that you're out there, and we're gonna kind of truck right through it. So last week we spent a lot of time uh, in this video. We were talking about different error codes. We were talking about different ways that you can have permissions issues on CloudFormation. You can have role issues. You can use some troubleshooting tools like Lin. Hey, Area Edits, welcome back. Thanks so much for
Oh, we
joining.
have eerie edits again. Thank goodness. We're saved.
um, so we had a bunch of different ones. So today we're going to focus on, as the title of the episode shows, stuck stacks. Brooke, how many times have your stacks got stuck?
Can't even count. Stuck stacks that's a classic.
I recently, actually, this weekend, was doing some deployments, and then, of course, because I use the same organization for everything, my personal set of accounts, I have too many confirmation templates, and sometimes I reuse them. So then I'm trying to redeploy, and things get stuck because there's already something that I didn't clean up from the last deployment. What a mess! So we're going to go through some common examples. Oh, Irietta says they're excited to watch, and we're excited to have you here.
Yeah, big shout out to everyone who helped us out last week.
So the first thing that we want to cover today is a delete failed state. So we're just going to do a very common issue that you might encounter, which is specifically around S3, where you deploy a CloudFormation template and then you want to delete it. But of course, there's something in the S3 bucket. And then what happens then? So we were just going to do this very simple uh, CloudFormation, which just tells you to deploy an S3 bucket. And I'm in my Cloud9 environment, so we can just use a CloudFormation CLI command to deploy this. Oh,
I'm interested in seeing what the actual right way to fix this is. I don't know about everyone else, but whenever I get these errors, I literally just go through, I look at the resources that aren't getting deleted, and I just go into the console and manually delete all of them. It's
oh
such
no.
a pain.
So we're just deploying this delete failed. Again, sometimes it's watching paint dry. I'm going to bring up our CloudFormation banner to ask for help. We can't delete an S3 bucket if it's not empty. By default, you cannot. So we can talk
Really?
about what your options are. Because otherwise, we don't want to. If you want, even if you want to delete the bucket, but you got to empty the bucket before you delete it. And this is
That's
something
by
that
default?
actually
That's surprising. I feel like haven't had that problem.
that of deleting the buckets after you deployed them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
So because we had this happen, we did a bunch of stuff on S3. I think the beginning of this year, where we covered some of this stuff, or maybe even the beginning of last season, which is so long ago. which you can check out, I'm pretty sure, all the way back, missing S3 bucket. But of course, we need to update our recordings. We're having some technical difficulties, but you can always check out the links from the episode. So we've got our S3 bucket here. Let's see what it created. Our bucket is called the CFN Workshop Delete Failed bucket. Really simple.
Aptly named.
So I'm going to create a just a dummy file so we can test out my hypothesis. And we're gonna just copy this file into S3, but of course I need the bucket name to do that, which is right here. So you can always just get your ARN from here, but you don't really need an ARN. And that should do it. So now we've got our file and our bucket. Let's double check. So let's just say you're uploading files to your bucket. You deployed it via CloudFormation. Now let's delete our stack. Done. That's done. That was easy. And we go back to CloudFormation, and we get the threaded delete failed. So, chat, what can we do to fix this? What do we think we have a few options here on how to proceed. And we can look at let's make this a bit bigger. We can look at the errors.
Well, I guess my first question is like, okay, obviously we know what's wrong, but I guess we're pulling up the errors now, but how would we know?
So it's saying failed to delete the S3 bucket. Obviously, that's the only thing that's in the stack. So it's not telling you why it's failing to delete the S3 bucket, though.
Okay, so that's kind of a thing. You just gotta know better.
You have to have at least an idea. So one way that you can kind of clean this out of CloudFormation is by just flagging. Oh, hold on. Let me go back and delete this on a different phone. So instead of just doing delete stack, what you can do is just do retain resources. So that way you keep the S3 bucket, but you're clearing out. Oh yeah, we can roll back to a previous good state, and then schizophrenic web developer said we can force it. That's exactly what we're going to do in this case. So now it actually was able to delete. It's gone. But if I wanted to actually be able to delete the stack via that command without forcing it, I could just go to S3. I could go to the bucket. I could empty the bucket.
See, this is what I would do.
Yeah, you would just go permanently delete.
Or just like move it somewhere else first, obviously.
And there's also, you don't have to go object by object. You can empty a bucket as well. Yeah. But now I have to spell permanently delete in front of everybody. And then you can go and delete this bucket if you wanted to. So that would be the one way to do this. I always hate when your names are super long and then you have to copy paste it.
I think that's the point. Gone. They want to force you to think about it a little more.
Yeah. So this is the easier way. Again, delete failed might mean that you've got stuff that needs an additional massaging to get it gone. And yeah, you can either force it and retain it or go and manually delete it and try to figure it out yourself and then delete the CloudFormation. Again, a little bit messy, a little bit, what's the word? Like kludgy.
Another messy one, I don't know if anyone else has had this experience, but ENIs, whenever you're trying to delete a stack, every single time I have to go in and manually delete them, and there's maybe like 5. So I wonder if there's a better workaround for that.
And if you've got suggestions, let us know in the chat. So this is our next one that we're going to be diving into, which is now we're going to cause a new error. I think we can just deploy and see what happens. So this template we'll walk through. We are getting an image ID from SSM parameter. We're creating an auto scaling group of 1, max batch size, minimum instance service 1, and then desired capacity 2. And we're doing it in T2 larges, latest AMIs, referencing a key pair. The key pair is ABC, and then key pair second XYZ. So all of the EC2 instances are going to be using the same key pair value. So let's deploy this and see what happens. See if we get any errors.
Or maybe we'll just get stuck here.
No, don't say that. Don't jinx us. Let's see. We're creating our key pairs. And we have create complete. This is great. So we have our auto scaling group. And we have our EC2 instances being launched via the launch template. We have these key pairs that are being created. But let's assume that we wanted to, someone makes a mistake outside of the CloudFormation. So we have this key pair ABC. What if somebody says, we don't need this. What is this key pair doing? And they delete it. Make a mistake. So now I've just deleted the key pair. And someone wants to update it. So they're like, oh no, like we've lost this key pair. We need to update it. So I've got this new version of the template here. And now this one is saying, hey, I still need key pair ABC. And I want to change the launch template to go to XYZ. And so now we can just update the stack with this new one. Say, hey, please use the key pair second as opposed to the first one. And we'll see what happens. Again, very, what's the word? Possible that folks are if you don't have the right permissions, if people are messing around. I've seen people delete things by mistake all the time, and usually that is followed by much tighter controls by your security teams or by your operation teams.
Right.
So let's see what's going on now. So now we're updating our group. See what's going on. It's updating. This is new. We've got a little timeline view here.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
It's
helpful when you have a bunch of events and like you have to scroll through and you're not really sure which one it's actually stuck on. So that's where I'll come look at the timeline.
Yeah, this is looking like it's stuck. So I'm gonna cancel the update. It's gonna try to roll back. And that's when we're going to continue to get now. So this is the error that we were simulating, is this update rollback failed. You updated the stack, someone deleted the key, and I'll say, hey, we failed to update this auto scaling group. And what we should get is that it's because the key pair isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I was about to say that's almost misleading in a way.
Why?
Because I would think it's an issue with the auto scaling group and go try to like delete stuff there.
Yeah, and because we're just updating it, but just because we are still referencing this key pair even after it's deleted in that update, now there's a problem. So the people that are updating your CloudFormation, hey Ladderib, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Even if those people are in they don't know that you deleted it, try to update, and now you've got a problem.
Yeah, so how would you know, other than, I guess, hopefully it gets flagged by CloudTrail?
Yeah, you'd want to flag it. Maybe you have a.
Oh, I see. View the CloudTrail events for this resource.
Yeah.
So I guess you would click there and you'd be able to see like if there's some sort of anomaly or delete that happened.
Yeah, or you can see my cancellation after I realized something was wrong. So what can we do to fix this bad state that we're in? Because we have the deployment was good before. We tried to update the stack, it's failed. What can we do to fix it? Does anyone have any ideas of what command I can run to undo this update rollback failed? So just like the previous error, we can actually skip something. So we can skip the auto scaling group, and this should clean up, and then now we have an update rollback complete.
Oh.
So again, like part of this is just finessing and living with your mistakes. In this case, we just didn't have it update the auto scaling group, and the previous one we didn't have it delete S3. So it can be a little bit frustrating.
Would you have to do that every time though? Like I'm imagining if you're updating this stack like multiple times over several months.
Yeah, I mean, in this one specifically, what we would have to do is update the stack so that it doesn't have this key pair in it anymore.
Right.
Which is the real problem, because now that it's gone. So maybe if you update to delete it or remove it, it will clean itself up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So part of it is just telling you that there's something wrong. I don't know.
The wonders of CloudFormation.
Is this making you like CloudFormation less than before?
No, it's more because at least now I know there's like pretty decent workarounds other than
like,
going
okay,
through and mass deleting everything I can find.
That's painful. That's super painful. Or just trying to like change the name of the stack over and over again.
Oh, I
Like,
haven't tried that one.
Well, because they'll be like, oh, it failed, and it'll be okay, CloudFormation 2,
Oh,
CloudFormation 3.
with two.
Yeah, just redeploy it until something works properly. So our next one is going to be another stuck stack. So we're going to go to the YAML file. And this is, again, a pretty simple one. We got a log group and we got an S3 bucket. Nothing too crazy. So I'm going to clear. And we're going to deploy this stack. And I'll wait for it to complete. Again, this will be a similar issue as before with the bucket. Oh, I'm going to start closing out these tabs. And it's completed. So now we're waiting. We're just waiting for it to give us the all clear. Okay, it's done. And we're going to describe those resources. So this is our new S3 bucket. So then I'm going to, again, copy that dummy file into the bucket to simulate us adding data over time.
So are we trying to simulate a similar failure to earlier?
Yeah.
Okay.
So earlier, we just had the bucket in there. But what happens when there's the bucket and other resources as well? So that is the bigger question. So now I'm going to update this to remove the bucket from my CloudFormation. And we're going to clear this again. I'm going to, let me just make sure that I got that. I don't, let's make sure I uploaded that file to the bucket. Yep, right, it's there. So now I'm going to just update the stack with the new version. Again, I'm updating it without the S3. So now we should have a problem. Let me go back to CloudFormation.
Update complete, cleanup in progress. I don't even think I've seen that one.
Well, it's trying to clean up that S3 bucket. Let's see what's going on. Trying delete fails.
Okay.
Again, because we got something in that bucket. So how do folks, again, this is now we're just throwing a different error message, but it's a very similar problem. So who from the chat can remind us what we need to do in this case?
We can always skip over it again, right?
So I'm just going to go and what's going to happen here is it's going to try to do this over and over again, try to delete it. And so I'm going to go and clean up the bucket myself. So let me go delete this file. Oh, hold on. Delete. And then if this is still going, it might be able to delete the bucket if it hasn't retried yet.
Does it continuously retry?
It did delete failed. Now it's saying delete in progress. I think it's just a
Oh.
time limit. Let me see. Table view. No, yeah, delete failed. So I don't think it's going to keep retrying. So eventually it'll go update complete. One update successful. One or more resources couldn't be deleted. Oh, here's another event. There you go. See, delete in progress. So we unstuck it.
Oh, there we go.
So do not fear if you have an error. If you can figure it out in time, you might not have to blow it up. You can let this thing. Imagine if it was like a more complicated CloudFormation template. A schizophrenic pile of headers. So wake up, chat. I know.
Yeah.
It's quiet today. I think a lot of people are probably in the US taking off after the 4th of July holiday. I would have thought it would have been more last week, but what do I know? Okay. So I got one last stuck stack error to go through. And this one is going to be a favorite, which is nested stacks. So the question here is going to be what happens when you start to nest stacks within themselves and you have an issue like this, when you start to get a bit more complicated.
Now this is
So
sounding like an essay pro question.
maybe more like a DevOps pro.
Yeah.
Uh, hold on, I'll bring up a little visual of what this would look like. So we've got our root stack, and then we've got these nested stacks that roll up to it, just to give a visual. We're already saying check from the root stack. I like that. We're already starting to troubleshoot before we deploy anything. So I'm going to create some key pairs first, just to start seeding our environment. So I got 2 key pairs, and we're going to use this YAML file for the nested stack. So this is the parent. We're creating security groups and referencing IAM roles. And we've got this IAM YAML and ASG YAML. So IAM YAML here, we're going to create a new instance profile. And then ASG YAML, we're going to create an auto scaling group with some T2 larges. So nothing too crazy, kind of putting it all together from what we've been building all along. And so what we're going to do is deploy this YAML file and see what happens. Oh,
I actually don't know the order here. Do
oh
they
wait,
all launch simultaneously?
it's priority order. It should be.
Okay.
Hold on, I need the bucket before I do anything. Slowly clear out this command. One sec. So I'm gonna just do. This is my output bucket, so I just need this. Okay. Hard part is when you're pasting multiple things. So, all right, I'm gonna stick this here. And put in this bucket. Great. So now I'm going to pass in some template parameters. So this is the parameter for getting our key in there, the first key. And we're creating the stack. So let's look at it from here. So we've got our nested stack. We're already deploying the IAM role here. Pretty simple. Brooke, have you done a lot of nested stacks in your deployments?
Not of my own. I mean, I've definitely seen it when deploying other stuff. Haven't had too much trouble with it though, surprisingly. So that's why I was curious, like which errors would get thrown first, whether it's in the
Yeah.
nested or the root.
And part of it, the one crazy nested stack that I've seen is for the Cloud Intelligence dashboards, there's an optimization collector and it deploys all this different stuff depending on what you pick that you want to check.
Oh,
And so
okay.
it's so many underneath.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if like the base SID deployment has that.
Let us know in chat if what's your nested stack experience? I know some of these I can never pronounce. KKARU. You gotta tell me how to phonetically say that. Already knows where they want to check in this diagram.
What is the main use case for nested stacks?
So you can be a bit more modular. So for example, in our nested stack here, we're separating the IAM roles and
So
the
really, it just makes
ASP.
troubleshooting easier, right?
I think so. Because then if you want to update a piece of the stack, you're not updating the entire stack.
Right.
Especially if you've got like distributed teams. Let's say like, your networking team needs to make an update. They can just update the networking portion of the stack.
Okay, so I imagine that's a best practice.
Depending on how complicated your deployments are. And I'm assuming most are. This is taking a while.
Yeah, I guess I will say for an application that I
There we
work
go.
on, we just have one big stack for the entire backend, and it does take a really long time to update every time. So I wonder if we should kind of split it up.
So now that we've got this deployed, we're gonna again recreate human error here. And let's see, this should finish. We're gonna delete the key and see what happens. And then we're gonna try to update the stack. Come on. So I'm gonna delete this key. So that's a problem, just like the last time. And I'm gonna clear all this out for a second so we can get to I'm gonna update my IAM CloudFormation. So we're just adding some additional policies. We're adding in, I'll bring in the original one. So this one has EC2. This one has also EC2, assume role. And then we're adding in this log statement. So you can see we're commenting on the file. This is what we're adding. And that's not there in this one. So what I can do to make things a lot simpler is go to the nested parent. I can call the im2.yaml instead of the im1. And then I can deploy this. So again, we know this will, oh, come on, need the bucket. So we're packaging up the file. And then we're going to deploy it. So again, we deleted a key. We went to update a stack. Now we're simulating this in a big nested stack. So we're going to throw another error here. So we have our update in progress. We're going to wait to see there's an issue. And always, I get so impatient when I go to refresh this.
Always takes time. I think spamming it helps it go faster, though, for sure.
I wonder. Because we should hit some sort of error pretty soon.
I did come across recently using QCLI. There's some kind of command you can input where it'll just tell you when the stack is done on the CLI. So.
Oh yeah, that's the. I've been using that a little bit today.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. I just have QCLI do it for me now.
It's
nice.
Hold on, I'll put it in my up here. So it's await stack create complete.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's not going to complete because it's going to fail at some point. Right around here, this is going to be the problem because I deleted the keys for EC2. And then the problem will be it'll try to roll back. And it can't because the key's not there.
Right.
I think we got to put the waiting music on. Oh. Hi, Christian. Welcome to the show. So we're just waiting for our CloudFormation stack to break. That's why this episode is called the Tale of Stuck Stacks. Let's see, do we have... Oh, we have a complete here. Still going. I'll put some waiting music on.
Oh, this one's different.
Oh, here we go. Update complete, cleanup in process. So we're still in this stuck.
I'm sorry, I cannot get over this music. It sounds like Minecraft soundtrack. It's so good.
It definitely is close to Minecraft for sure. It's labeled as lo-fi, which
yeah,
is that itch. That's cool. I can actually knock this out. Okay. All right. So we need the chat's help. What
so
should I
stuck
do?
Here.
I'm stuck in this cleanup phase. An update complete, cleanup in process. I'm stuck trying to update this instance. So you could just wait and this will take forever. So what we're gonna do here is cancel the stack update.
Wait, but how do we know which one like the problem was with? Assuming we don't know what we just broke, right?
That's a good question. I mean, so we would have to go through and figure out where this thing broke. And
So then
it's
we can look at
bringing
the
up nested
timeline
ASG.
view, ideally, right?
Yeah.
But then we'd have to know like if something in particular is taking an abnormally long time, like kind of flag that in our head. So maybe the nested stacks make it a little harder to troubleshoot in some ways.
Well, now here's the interesting part: is it's going to try to roll back, and then of course it can't roll back because the keys aren't there.
So that's how we know it's an issue with this one.
Yeah, because now you're saying update failed, and you're trying to say why. And so now it's rolling back on the other. So at least now what you're seeing is that it's able to roll back on the other sides of the stack, but not in the ASG. So it should be an update rollback failed, and they won't clean anything up until everything's been updated. So you could be stuck in this for a while. Christian says, interesting, we usually do something similar in my company. Yeah. I hope this
So
is
what do you do to fix it?
Yeah, what do you do to fix it? So yeah, here we go. Update rollback failed. Everything's failing. We're having problems here. You can see in the ASG. Update rollback complete. It's here.
So here, if I remember last time, I thought we got a more detailed error message.
I know,
Like-
I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I'm not even
beyond
sure where
the
you'd
complete
start
cleanup in
here.
process. Yeah, the question will be, what we can try to do here, which is try to do the rollback for the rest of the nested stack, because now everything is red. Update rollback failed. Update rollback complete, cleanup in progress. Update rollback failed. Because the IM stack is fine. This part is fine, but our ASG is not. So we're gonna go and clean this
Wait,
up.
so that's interesting though that our IAM stack also failed. I would think that would complete.
Well,
still.
it's not that it failed. It's that it completed this rollback. But
right.
it can't do the full cleanup without the whole thing going into
Because they're
SSD.
nested. Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
So I'm going to. Oh, hang on. Just skip the. Whoop. Just skip this piece in 1 sec. This should. Yep.
Okay.
So now I'm skipping this. And now we finally have everything kicking, saying here's the root cause.
Did we have that before?
No.
Oh, okay. But that still requires you to know, what went wrong.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take some time to troubleshoot. And I guess identify or set an alarm if this deployment is taking longer than normal. And then we have update rollback finally complete. So it's not happy. But at least we are resuming that cleanup process. Because now we're in a different state.
Wait, so update rollback complete means it's still working on it.
No, that's done. That's done now. The cleanup was the part.
Oh, so now we can delete it if we wanted to, or...
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if it actually deletes. It should be able to.
Yeah, I guess, again, like, it's just one of those things. You have to have good CloudTrail permissions or alerts set up for deleting stuff like that.
Yeah, you'd actually... I do like that you're calling out that this is not that easy. Who here has the least privilege in this use case? Well, least privilege being like folks should have access to the resources that they either deployed or that they should manage, as opposed to just having like admin rights in the account or like power user rights in the account, is what we mean.
Yeah, like in an ideal scenario, you shouldn't be able to just delete a random key pair like this.
Yeah. But people make mistakes. I've seen
Yeah.
people fat finger SCPs or mess something up and then it just has a wide blast radius, but we want to, as security best practices, make sure that people can't do those kinds of things, or they maybe need to break glass to do those types of things. So this is still deleting. Okay. We're in a weird amount of time where we've got about 10 minutes left. Is this part of production? In this scenario, we're kind of just recreating common errors. I wouldn't say any of this is production. In fact, I would hope that if you're making updates to your stacks, that you're doing it in a dev environment first, maybe with like less capacity, and then rolling it over to production. But what do I know?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they meant by production. Like our show production.
Yeah.
It is for a show, so we don't have our managers yelling at us that something broke, luckily.
Not yet. Yeah, it's still deleting. So I think it's in a good state that it's deleting. I guess what I can point people to is we talked a lot about stuck stacks. Let's try to say that 10 times fast. And what we can do to automate some of this is create a DevOps pipeline for your infrastructure as code. Now, you might say, I already have deployed my stuff manually, either via CLI or via ClickOps, and there is a tool for you where you can import your entire applications into CloudFormation, and you can start your infrastructure as code journey. So we have a whole blog post about it. I will put it into the Twitch chat. And this might be an exciting new frontier.
CDK migrate. Interesting.
There we go. So this is how old? This is last year, so I think pretty in date. And I'll just scroll down. Basically, we can go to the IAC generator page, scan the account, and create a new template from our resources. So if you want to use CDK, you can use CDK migrate. So this is one way to do it. Let's see, where's this in the console? So you can go to IAC generator, scan your resources. And so there's no excuse to not start an IAC pipeline. I don't even know what this is going to pull up because I deleted all the resources that we just deployed. I didn't like it. But this is what happens when you, oh no, it's working. Okay, scan in progress. This might take a little while, folks. So you can find this in your CloudFormation under IAC generator. I have not played with this before.
Do we
So this
know
is kind
what's
of
kind
exciting.
of behind the scenes here? Like, is it AI based?
Is it AI? Let's see. I don't know.
It might
It might.
just. Yeah, I saw a line up there. It said it just looked for relationships between resources.
I just search AI in this. Nope, I don't see anything. So this might be. We need to put more AI into the blog post. Get more views.
Yeah, it might also just be their secret sauce.
Oh, here we go. It's almost done. 98% done. And now we have a template or scan summary. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in my account. I've got some policies. I have security groups. I got some databases. I got some EC2.
So this is interesting. I can kind of discover like everything.
And look, now I can go through and add the resources that I already have. My route tables, my subnets, my VPCs, and let's see, let's add my VPCs for example. So I have my VPC here. I add all the, and then they'll say, oh, here's all the resources in your VPC, and I can create a template. So this will take
For
a little
some
bit.
reason, I'm like, there's no way this works. But I want to believe.
Well, it's done. Here it is in YAML. Let's see. Some optional properties were not included in the template. You can download there's some properties that were
Okay, sure.
not good. But okay. I don't have WebGL turned on apparently. Um, let's see. If I download the template and let's see. This is opening up in Visual Studio, of course, so now no one can see it. Uh, Let me
I wonder
change
if
my
it
screen
also
share.
integrates with like Trusted Advisor or IAM Access Analyzer, and like it'll tell you if any of your configurations are not following best practices.
Oh, which would be if you like had it, you create a pipeline, you create the template, it then scans the
But I'm
template for you.
wondering, like, if it's already ingesting all that configuration data.
I like that idea. Okay, so here's what I got spit out in my, and it actually says this was created by the
Wow.
IAC generator. So it's got my saying again, this is like uh, setting up what's already there. If you were to deploy this, nothing would actually deploy, but you can start to input this. This has got everything in here. Got my EC2 subnets saying it's all retained deletion policies. So if I delete the confirmation template, it will delete the resources. And it's got pretty much everything in here. It's not that exciting. The account doesn't have that much in it. But like, for example, it has my internet gateway, has the snapshots that are in here.
So could you use this to convert like a workload that you have running that you built using Terraform to CloudFormation?
I guess technically, but then why would you want to do that?
I don't know, like if you were asked to by your team or something. I'm just trying to think of like other use cases. This is an interesting one.
I mean, it's like if you don't, a lot of folks built things on their own, or maybe they're playing around, and then if you want to convert something to infrastructure, it's good. Or like customers that lift and shift, right? There's no IAC. You're
Yeah,
migrating from EC2 from on-premises to EC2 or to other services. So then if you want to start making updates and start to practice DevOps in your environment, well, you've already migrated in there, so it doesn't exist. So this is one way to test and play around. But again, do this in your dev environment, test this out beforehand. But that worked pretty well, I think, without actually deploying it live.
It looks good. Caught a lot of stuff for sure.
And again, what I liked about that was that I just picked what VPC I wanted, and it just scanned all the resources in there and said, okay, here you go. Here's what we got. So I can take it. Cool. So I will take off our banner. We've successfully troubleshot all the stuck stacks today. And we even threw in a little bit of infrastructure as code generator on top of it, which I wasn't expecting to do, but I'm glad it worked. Brooke, what did you learn today?
I definitely learned a lot about nested stacks. Definitely going to take that away, see if it's applicable to some of the stuff that I'm working on. Still not sure if it'll make my life easier or harder, but definitely good to know how those errors kind of overlap on top of each other.
Yeah, I feel like if you're the one person that's developing it and then deploying it, then you're like, okay, I don't care if it's this big long piece of code, but then when you want to distribute it out or assign other put folks to it, then maybe having it nested is better. This happened to me with we have wiki pages internally, and I built a wiki page where everything was one big long thing of code, and that was fine for me. And then people went to update it, and they were like, whatever you did, when I update your page, it breaks everything. So can we just break this out into separate pages? So that is what they did, and it took them kind of a while to do it, actually. So that's all I've got from my end. Brooke, any final thoughts or questions for the chat?
Not that I can think of. I'm kind of impressed that we got through all that today.
It's quiet this week. People are on holiday, but next week, if you're tuning to this episode or you've made it to the end on the recording, next week we are going to dive deep into the world of capacity, EC2 capacity reservations, how to ask for them, how to split them, how to modify them, how to do some stuff that's a little bit more advanced than just clicking a few buttons and getting it on demand. So that's what we'll be trying out next week. And if you've got any suggestions for future episodes, you can always hit us up at aws-tech-tales.com, and we'll be sure to read those and maybe have them on a future episode. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.